Irish hip-hop group Kneecap has just been allegedly banned from entering Canada. They were planning on doing a couple concerts until they heard from the social media of a member of parliament that they were banned from the country because they allegedly support terrorism. Now, I'm an immigration lawyer. I'm dealing all the time with people who are unable to come to Canada, and I often make appeals based on that. And I also have a master's in global affairs, and a big part of that was focusing on violent extremism and so-called terrorism within Canada, as well as the laws surrounding that. Now, that all being said, none of this is legal advice, but I want to give my opinion for 3 reasons why this decision is so absurd. The first thing you have to understand is that who's considered a terrorist and who's not is completely arbitrary. It is pretty much completely politicized and dictated by the interest and foreign policy interest of the Canadian state. So Canada has this list of terrorist groups. They just determined that, and the determination of what groups are terrorist groups or not is highly arbitrary. So for instance, it's only in the last couple of years that far-right or white supremacist groups have been added to the list, and even then it's pretty minuscule. For instance, the KKK is actually not even included in the list, and when you look at the list, for the most part, it's just groups that are from brown and black countries that are being designated as terrorists. You even have groups that, for instance, advocate for the rights of Palestinian prisoners being considered to be, terrorist groups. So this whole list is complete BS and nonsense, and unfortunately, though, in the law, it has serious ramifications. You could, for instance, get your bank account frozen, and you could be actually subject to criminal prosecution, I should say. But even within this huge definition of terrorism that's very, very broad and includes all these groups, I don't even think Kneecap necessarily meets the definition of supporting terrorism. The only thing they've ever done that even gets close to this is vocalizing some support, for instance, for certain resistance groups in Palestine, but they very soon after that retracted that support and said, oh no, we don't actually support X, Y, and Z group. So I don't even think they meet the definition of supporting terrorism. The third thing, though, you have to understand, and this is it might sound like a small detail, but it's actually very important. It's the fact that the group has actually not received an official decision that they're actually banned from entering. So far, all we have is pretty much the tweet and social media post from Vince Gasparo, the member of parliament who's also the secretary for combating crime. But that's not the same thing as a decision. In order to be banned from entering Canada, you actually do need an official letter. If you don't have that official letter, you can come in. There's nothing that actually prohibits you from doing so. And so there's only 2 possibilities. One is Vince is making this up, in which case I think the group should sue him for defamation, or the decision is being delayed, and that is an administrative law issue and an issue in immigration law. Now, if it's the later case and they are banned, I'm happy actually, Kneecap, to help you pro bono. So let me know, and thanks for watching the vid.